If you guys were to tune in for one day of coverage, you probably could have went today because both sides unexpectedly, I guess, got an opportunity to talk. One side made an ass out of themselves and the other one, well, they needed to show that ass because it got totally fucking obliterated. Dude, this should have been up on Pornhub. It was so thorough. I mean, this dude you see right in the middle of your screen, Michael Veen. Oh my god. Hire him for anything because this dude was fucking savage. Holy shit, this is the first day he got to talk, and I do believe he was the first speaker up there, and he was vicious right from the fucking get-go. They played video after video after video, throwing everything back in the Dems' face, everything that they have said over the summer, in the past, everything that they are trying to accuse Donald Trump of, they have said, if not worse, and they actually linked it to real cases of violence. It was, oh my god, it was only 3 hours long, and they made their point loud and clear. The impeachment managers failed to prove that Donald Trump did any of the incitement that they're charging him on. They spent 14 hours making you cry, crying themselves, saying how bad Orange Man is. That's it. And they came in, they had case law. They had First Amendment speeches. Fucking Bruce Castor actually stuck to a script. And about 10 to 15 minutes into his speech, he started to turn it on. And it proved that, yeah, this dude was actually a former attorney general. And he could actually hold a conversation. But, yeah, it was a thorough dicking. And they went for it was supposed to be a 10-minute break. But it ended up being like a fucking half hour long. And then they came back. And then they hopped into question period. And the questions were mostly just kind of leading whatever side they addressed it on. But to the Republicans' credit, and they were the only side that did this, normally the questions would have been addressed to the Democrats would only address the impeachment managers and the Republicans would only address the defense counsel. But the Republicans, some of them had them address both sides, which was good because it showed that one side was totally 100% unprepared for the off-the-script questions, which was a little bit weird, but, and then it gave the other side, it was mostly just Michael Veen. I think Bruce Castor stood up 2 or 3 times. I know 2 for sure, but he might have stepped up another time as well. One, he just gave a one-word answer to the first question that was asked to his side because they evoked that Kamala Harris had the Minnesota Freedom Fund open and available to rioters who could be bailed out using that fund and then immediately going ahead and committing more acts of violence, which is something that exactly happened. And if that is a direct incitement to violence, or if that would be a condemnable act, and I'm not getting the words exactly right, but I am paraphrasing, Bruce Castor goes up there and says no, and then sits back down. One-word answer, and it fucking killed me, dude. It was hilarious. I'm going to go back and watch the rest of the question period because there was a bunch of stuff in there that might be pertinent for tomorrow because they are just changing this on the fly because the Trump defense team just really had everything together. They only needed 3 hours to say, hey, here's everything that the Dems, everything that the impeachment managers brought to the table. And yeah, none of it has substance whatsoever. A lot of it was doctored, and we're going to go through a few of those doctorings, and we're going to go ahead and show you, not necessarily play the videos, but we're going to show you how the Republican defense team, over the course of, 2 hours, because that's when all of the videos got played, just made the impeachment look like the total sham that we all know that it is. With that said, yeah, Michael Veen started the day. Hypocrisy. That was something that he drove home during his 1 hour. He had an hour, Schoen came up for an hour, and then Castor wrapped everything up after a break. And yeah, if I was to hand out grades, Veen gets an A++, that Schoen gets an A+, and Castor, once he got going, probably a B+, because that first 10 minutes, this dude should have just been out, walking around, stretching, getting his neck fucking rolled, because once that dude finally got on a roll, it was very good. It was very good. Former President Donald Trump's legal team on Friday accused legislators of hypocrisy as played lengthy video montages of elected officials speaking out about committing assault against Trump, threatening his supporters, and backing protests last year that regularly turned violent. Oh, there was one video that they played. It was a supercut of every fucking politician that you could think of saying the word fight, and you think it would end, and then it would keep going, and then it would keep going. I think it was like 3 or 4 minutes long. It was fucking hilarious. I was dying laughing. This is the type of stuff that I think we were hoping for. At the end of the day yesterday, I thought that they'd probably come out, the Trump defense team would come out, refute everything that the Democrats have presented as evidence, and also just cite the necessary cases. That's exactly what they did, and I couldn't be happier. Michael Veen argued that Trump did not use any inciting language on January 6th before the breach of the Capitol, but numerous members of Congress have. Nancy Pelosi said herself the 2016 election was hijacked and that Congress has a duty to protect our democracy, he told the Senate. She also called the president an imposter and a traitor, and recently referred to our colleagues in the House as enemies within. Oh yes, I think we talked about that as well. Yeah, that was in reference to Marjorie Taylor Greene, because Nancy Pelosi is fucking insane. Moreover, many Democrat politicians endorsed and encouraged the riots that destroyed vast swaths of American cities last summer, he added. Violent left-wing anarchists conducted a sustained assault on the federal courthouse in Portland, Oregon. Speaker Nancy Pelosi did not call it an insurrection. Instead, she called the federal law enforcement officers protecting the building stormtroopers. Yes, call the feds that were there to protect a federal building stormtroopers, but then go ahead and walk it back when they're protecting the Capitol building, because Nancy Pelosi is actually potentially in harm. She was never really in harm. When violent mobs destroy public property, she said, people do what they do. Oh, that was a part of a bunch of the video clips. Rioters, some affiliated with anarcho-communist network Antifa and Black Lives Matter, ransacked stores across a major U.S. cities last year and severely damaged government and civic buildings. And that was one of the many videos that were played. Yep, that's a still from one of the videos. Trump's legal team wiped the Senate floor with the Democratic members of Congress seeking to impeach the former president after forcing them on the 4th day of Trump's trial to a slew of videos from their past violent rhetoric calling for their supporters to fight, encouraging the summer 2020 riots. The legal team opened with a video of all the times politicians and journalists suggested that they wanted to impeach Trump long before his trial at the beginning of 2020, and transitioned to another series of clips depicting some of the politicians such as Maxine Waters, Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, Nancy Pelosi, failed Democratic presidential candidate Hillary Clinton. It sucked to see her there, but boy was it nice to just hear her be a hypocrite. Well, whenever she flaps her fat fucking gums, it's normally hypocrisy that follows. Oh, they leave out Elizabeth Warren, but she had, oh no, there it is. Among these highlighted in visual evidence was Democratic Senator Elizabeth Warren, who was featured multiple times throughout the montage, telling crowds of people nearly 50 times that they should fight. Every time, all the cuts of when they said fight, because that was the entire crux of the Democratic argument. Oh, Donald Trump said that people should fight like hell. Like, no politician has ever used the word fight to mean conduct something in the political process. Yeah, that's the exact hypocrisy that the Trump legal team pointed out. Now, Vice President Kamala Harris also made an appearance, not only with her infamous suggestion that she would murder Trump and force former Vice President Pence if they were stuck in an elevator, and Jeff Sessions as well, but also that her speeches rallying people promising to fight nearly 70 times in addition to Warren and Harris. The video also showed at least 10 times when President Joe Biden used the word fight, and also a couple times, 2 or 3 times in that video montage as well. It was when Joe Biden said in his insane old man Alzheimer's rage, I would take Trump behind the high school and knock him out, because that's how we settle stuff in the Midwest in the fucking 50s. Under the bleachers or with your best gal, go to the drive-in, see a showy, you get a double feature for a nickel. Using a simple word phrase to communicate urgency or importance to a crowd, Trump attorney David Schoen said that it is not a mistake in these videos. The Democrats' mistake, he said, was capitalizing on something that they are guilty of doing to accomplish a political goal. You didn't do anything wrong. It's words people use, the attorney continued, but please stop the hypocrisy. Exactly. All of this stuff, I don't care that they say it. I just care about the hypocrisy. And that was the entire point of putting that video montage together, and that was the entire point of playing that. Democrats are accusing Donald Trump of doing exactly what they have done thousands and thousands of times. With that said, that is not the only thing that they debunked, and oh buddy, was it lovely that they pointed this out. Not for the fact that most people haven't seen it, and if you've been following this channel for a long enough time, I put together a top 10 video of the quotes that Donald Trump has said that have been categorically mischaracterized by the mainstream media. But yeah, this is the one that, if you recall, Joe Biden decided to run based on this very line here, that Donald Trump said that there were very fine people on both sides, referring to neo-Nazis and white nationalists. Well, for the first time, and David Schoen also pointed this out, this is probably the first time that this has ever been played on mainstream media, yeah, that Donald Trump also said, we will be condemning the neo-Nazis, or the neo-Nazis and the white nationalists should be condemned explicitly. But I'll go ahead and read what is written here. Lawyers representing former President Donald Trump demolished a Charlottesville very fine people hoax on Friday in the Senate impeachment trial, playing a full video in which Trump said neo-Nazis should be condemned totally. House Impeachment Managers played a selectively edited clip of Trump's 2017 remark on Thursday, repeating the false claim that Trump had referred to murderous neo-Nazis rioters as very fine people. Lead House Impeachment Manager Jamie Raskin, that dude got his fucking O-ring blown out, tried to argue that Trump had encouraged or condoned violence by his supporters, but Trump's defense lawyer David Schoen destroyed the claim. There's that famous quote, the one with the House managers say, "A lie will travel halfway around the world before the truth has a chance to put his shoes on." Well, this lie traveled around the world a few times, and it made its way to the Biden campaign talking points. Then it ended on the Senate floor. The Charlottesville lie, the very fine people on both sides, except that's not what he said at all. And they knew it then, and they know it now. Watch this. Then, yes, he played the video and played it for y'all before. And he concluded, this might be today the first time the news networks play that full remark in context. And how many times have you heard President Trump has never denounced white supremacists? Now you have. Now you in America know the truth. Yep. Because all of this stuff, if you're saying, okay, this has nothing to do with inciting anything that happened that day, then January 6th at the Capitol Hill, you would be correct. But that is a bulk of everything that the impeachment managers have brought. Oh, Donald Trump has been stoking this for a very long time. Oh, it's not one speech that incited the violence. Oh, it was everything that he did and everything he did after. Oh, he didn't, employ the National Guard quick enough. It's not like they're just fucking waiting like a pizza delivery service where if they don't arrive in 30 minutes or less, your insurrection will go on unabated. No, that's not what fucking happens. It takes a minute for them to get fucking riled up and ready to go. No, like Veen beat them over the head in the question period time. There was no due process afforded to President Trump. The impeachment managers, they did not do their proper job. They did not investigate anything. The defense, in one of the questions that was asked, had the audacity to bring up, oh, well, the defense could have provided a bunch of evidence in order to prove that Donald Trump is innocent. Well, even though that this is not a criminal case, you are not guilty until proven innocent, but that is not a burden that is placed on the defense ever. And yeah, Veen brutally pointed that out to them. And the only other argument that was raised during the question period is that, if you can totally believe this, the large Michelle Obama looking lady, I don't remember her name, and she was a horrible speaker, and she continued to bring things up over and over again that really made no sense. This in particular, that fight video was very dishonest, and I noticed something that was running through that very often. It was often women that you guys selectively edited, and it was often people of color that you used in your video, trying to bring in racism because they have nothing. They were getting pummeled, and then they're like, oh, my sexism, oh, my racism. It was brutal. So brutal. But wait, there's more. Oh, they came totally correct. If you thought that the presentation was smooth from the Democrat side, whoever put these video clips together, they deserve something, because they were long, they were varied, and they were different, and they proved every point that they needed to. And this one in particular, proving that incendiary rhetoric from other prominent public figures have existed. That's existed against President Trump, and it has from a varied, not necessarily varied ideologically, but a different scope of people. Okay? You got here, okay, yeah, Madonna's, I've been thinking a lot about blowing up the White House, Johnny Depp's assassination remark, which I know I've seen it before, but I never really heard it in context or in the speech. While it isn't any more important to the charges at hand to play these additional people in the montage that they provided, it's important to see that it doesn't matter how important of a person you are, you have First Amendment protections. And that is something that Jamie Raskin came up repeatedly and said, oh, that doesn't apply to Trump. He has a higher standard that he needs to reach. But Veen came in and was like, no, here are the other cases that the Supreme Court have levied as well. Let's say specifically Wood versus Georgia, that political speech needs to be protected even more, because in order to advance a society, you have to have the conversations that are delicate, and you need to have the conversations protected, because in order to move anything forward, incendiary, inflammatory, sometimes aggressive language needs to be used. And what was the impeachment manager's rebuttal to that? Don't worry about that. Don't look at the man behind the curtain. There's nothing to see here. So yeah, man, it was a thorough dicking, and we'll see what they have to do tomorrow, because it sounds like there's going to be a debate amongst the senators, and it could just be wrapping up tomorrow. It was supposed to be a day off tomorrow, and I don't know, because Schoen had to leave at 5 o'clock because he's an Orthodox Jew, and the Sabbath is from 5 p.m. on Friday until I don't know the specified time when it's over. So if he's not there, at least Veen will be there, and that dude was like a starving pit bull on a bike chain, dude. It was vicious. The dude could definitely handle his own. So yeah, it could all be wrapped up tomorrow. They're just going to have the debate amongst the senators, apparently. That's the scheduled plan, but they were also supposed to have 2 days. The defense team was supposed to have 2 days to present their arguments, but they wrapped it up very quickly. And it looks like everything's just going to be a foregone conclusion, because the praise of Trump's legal team today has been wall to wall. Like, even if you go on Twitter for a minute, nobody's talking about it. So that's just one side that, yeah, everything's going great for the Trump side, because, yeah, the screeching harpies don't really have anything to say. It's like, oh, yeah, Trump's a bad man. Well, here's all the times that you were just as bad. Oh, fuck. But yeah, at least a dozen Republican senators walked out of the impeachment trial. Yeah, that's tough. They already seen everything that they need to. They just think that, yeah, this is ridiculous. At least a dozen Republican senators reportedly walked out of the Senate impeachment trial on Thursday after lead House impeachment manager Jamie Raskin tried to argue that years of Trump's rallies were incitement to violence. That's not exactly how incitement works. National Review reporter John McCormick reported several Republican senators left the chambers during part of Raskin's presentation and missed the subsequent argument of Ted Lieu, who argued that Trump was a future danger inside the Senate chamber. Rubio, Cruz, Graham watched documented evidence, and then, yeah, summarily left for Lieu's presentation. Raskin tried to claim that Trump's speech on January 6th incited violence at the Capitol Hill because he had spent years encouraging supporters to commit acts of violence or condoning past acts of violence, often using specific coded language to do so. You know, my dog whistle. Specifically, Raskin claimed that Trump had incited violence against public officials in the past. He tried, for example, to link Trump to the plot uncovered. This was fucking bonkers by the Trump administration to kidnap Gretchen Whitmer last fall. We covered that as well, but yeah, you know what else? Though one of the alleged plotters was a Black Lives Matter supporter, and the other plotter had an anarchist flag and hated the police and Trump as well. And at least 4 feds were a part of that plot. So, yeah, it's really looking more and more like it was a total setup. So, honest to God, I don't think anybody's mind was changed. And the entire point of this presentation today by Trump's defense team was to appeal to Republicans, because there's no way that any Democrats are going to change their mind. They vote like a block, and kudos to them. They have their entire party in lockstep with what their plan is. I got to give it to them. It was more about making sure that no other Republicans break ranks, another 11, potentially 12, don't hop the fence, and that doesn't seem likely, because it was thorough, it was hilarious, and it was succinct. So we'll see what tomorrow holds, because it could all be over, and then the media will have to go back to reporting and making up good stories to cover up for Joe Biden's shortcomings. With that said, guys, I thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Al Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.